Hey guys. Anyhow, so I'm just doing my morning coffee, my semi-retired morning coffee routine. I've got some cameraman issues here, so of course always dealing with that. But we got it squared away right here. There we go. And anyhow, so I didn't comb my hair. Sorry, guys. There we go. Yeah. So anyhow, I was just checking the pulse. Part of my routine. I like to see, check the whatever news sources, allegedly reliable news sources. I like to check them to see if a nuclear bomb went off in Palestine or something. That would be important information to know of. If Israel dropped a nuclear bomb on Palestine, that would be pretty important. So I got to, check the updates. And anyways, so nothing's going on. Mark Dice put up a video, so I watched that. That's it, like that. And then I checked out Jim Rizzoli. So Jim Rizzoli's been kind of bringing up Gypsy Fox in his videos for the last couple of days, which is something of interest, I suppose, And sorry, guys. So I was just kind of checking it out, and yeah, just sharing opinions. Gypsy Fox and Jim Rizzoli are just kind of exchanging differing opinions and stuff, and so whatever, that's cool. And that's about it. That's about it, And I put up a video last night giving you all a tour of BitChute, just to show, like, there is nothing on there. There's nothing. So that was it. So this morning, that's it. That's all there is, man. Unless you're interested in, vampire baby stories and shit like that, whatever. So that's about it, right? So then I was kind of thinking, well, why don't if I have a problem with this media, why not get involved? Try to make a difference, right? And, well, first of all, running a YouTube channel is arguably, doing my part, to make a difference. But the thing is, the argument is, well, if BitChute, there's more hope for the BitChute platform than any other, according to you, why would you be on YouTube? Why not get in the fight and start trying to do something to make BitChute a more a quality, do your part, run the BitChute channel. Well, yeah. So, and I've talked about this, a lot recently. I had a BitChute channel for like 3.5 years or something. And BitChute is very, very good at covert, tactful censorship. BitChute is advanced, is much more advanced in censorship than YouTube. And so I already know. I've been there, done that. It's like somebody trying to convince me that, you know, taking LSD is like really, really good at, you know, opening you up to, you know, spiritual, you know, shit. And it's like, I already done all that. I fucking eaten more acid than probably most of you. I've done more acid than your average person, so no, I don't do acid anymore. So it could be like, well, why? It's such a spiritual experience. It really is so spiritual and everything. I don't understand why. Dude, I've actually literally had these conversations with people on BitChute and et cetera, who are like totally like, they just can't understand why I wouldn't take LSD. Because LSD is like, opens up your spiritual chakras and does all this spiritual stuff. It's such a spiritual thing, LSD. And the person that's lecturing me on this, I've done more LSD in one day than they have in their entire life, dude. And so some people are just never going to understand. Some things are very difficult to understand, you know. So, and again, I like the idea of BitChute. And I like the idea of having a BitChute channel. But see, I've already done that. And BitChute, they fucking went fucking hard. They came after me, dude. They made sure. And not just mine. All the other small channels like mine. They're all gone. So why would I go back, you know? Why? It'll just happen again. You know, fool me once, shame on you, right? So anyhow, no, the idea of BitChute is great, but just like it's like this. So when I worked in the homeless service provider field for 10 years, the idea of the homeless service provider field is great in theory, but in practice, all the people running these homeless organizations just abuse it for their own personal gain. They don't care anything about addressing the homeless issue. They just want all that federal money coming in so they can keep putting it in their pocket. So the idea of the homeless service provider field is great in theory. In practice, a whole other thing, completely different thing. Same with BitChute. In theory, BitChute is a great idea, but in practice, dude, I'm telling you, BitChute is more advanced at censoring people than YouTube. And I've talked about this with like corporations versus nonprofits. It's the same thing. I have more respect for a corporation than I do a nonprofit. And most people can't understand this and won't even take the time to listen to why. But it's really obvious when you look at it. Corporations are transparent. They're not really trying to hide anything in a general sense. They're there to make money and there's no mistaking it. Nonprofits are the ones that put up the big banner that say, we're here to help, we care about free speech, and they're more vicious than corporations. And they're more obsessed with making money than corporations are. And they're not transparent. They're telling you the opposite of what their intentions are. At least corporations are honest. They're more honest than nonprofit. It's the same. So YouTube is it's the same with, like, you compare YouTube with BitChute. YouTube doesn't give a shit. YouTube's like, we're here to make money, fuck you. Use our platform or don't, right? That's YouTube's. BitChute is like, we care, we're here to help. We're here to help. Freedom of speech is under attack. Freedom of speech is under attack and we're here to help. That's BitChute's banner. And it's just totally fake, dude. It's fake. See, so BitChute becomes a paradox. And a paradox is a seemingly contradictory statement that could nonetheless be true. And BitChute is a paradox. It's worse than the other platforms because BitChute is better, is what makes BitChute worse. And you might you might like be confused, like how could that be true? Well, it is true, dude. What makes BitChute worse is that it's better. And one of the biggest things that makes BitChute worse because BitChute is better is because BitChute is better by such a minute, obscure, like just like it's hardly even noticeable that BitChute is better than the other platforms is what makes BitChute worse. Because BitChute is better by just like this tiny little fucking indiscriminate fraction, then BitChute can platform itself as the best one in the whole world, even though it's only better than the others by such a minute fraction that it's not even worth mentioning. And despite it being not even worth mentioning, they are screaming it from the rooftops of how they're better. That's what makes them worse. So BitChute is an oxymoron. It's worse because it's better. It's just, so I'm on YouTube, right? And also so because BitChute is worse because it's better only by this like such a minute, like it's fucking microscopic. It's nanoscopic, the difference between BitChute and the other platforms. Is just not even worth it. They're all the same, right? And so because of that, and because of that paradox, the goalposts have shifted. The Overton window shift is completed. And now YouTube is better than BitChute. And when that happens, it takes the masses a long time to catch on. So it's going to take a couple years. If this remains the case, 2 years, it's going to take people at least a couple years to finally catch on. And so if you're ahead of the curve, and what I'm saying is true, and you're ahead of the curve, well then you're back on YouTube again, because BitChute sucks, dude. Like last night I did a tour of BitChute. It is just pure garbage, bro. I mean, it's unbelievable. So what are you gonna do? As they say in Sopranos, what are you gonna do? That's what the Sopranos say. What are you gonna do? There's nothing you can do. BitChute is worse because it's fucking better by a little tiny cut here. BitChute is worse. And how could it get any worse than it already is? Nobody knows. The only explanation is communism. Is that's how much of a stronghold the powers that be have on everything. And that's just the way it is, And what's gonna change it? What's gonna change it? Remember in 2014, YouTube was fucking amazing. But those days are long gone, dude. Those days they're over. It's kind of like the Grateful Dead. Any of you who are familiar with the Grateful Dead, despite all its flaws, was an amazing phenomena to witness. I mean, it was amazing. But see, the Grateful Dead is done. There's still a band that calls itself the Grateful Dead that tours, but it's nothing. It's not. It only has like one or at most two original members of the Grateful Dead. See, those of you who understand what the Grateful Dead phenomena was, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But then you got all these people that don't know anything about the Grateful Dead, so they don't even understand it all. So maybe that's not a very good euphemism or whatever. But I mean, why go into it? Why explain it? But anyways, yeah, no. The idea of me having a BitChute channel is great in theory, but I've already been there. I've already done it. I know exactly the way BitChute functions. BitChute wants everybody in popular and trending. They don't want people watching any other channels other than the popular channels and the trending channels. The idea that BitChute is fighting for free speech is a total lie. It's a complete lie. So there is no free speech, and BitChute knows this. You know, BitChute's just another fucking MK Ultra tool, just like Rumble, Odyssey, and YouTube, and mainstream media. It's all the fucking same. So, if I did set up a BitChute channel, they'd come after me. I guarantee it. They'd fucking come after me. So, you know, YouTube, whatever. Like, YouTube is so massive, they have no reason to come after me. You know, I could say pretty much whatever the fuck I want. They're not going to do nothing. If I say what I'm saying on my videos on BitChute, they'll come after me. The ADL fucking agents will come after me. Because all the ADL agents are there for is to spray paint swastikas all over BitChute. So the ADL can come back and say, look, the anti-Semitic platform full of anti-Semites, you know. And like I mentioned a couple days ago, everybody knows that that's what's going on. It's totally obvious. Like, nobody's fooling nobody on that fucking platform. It is so obviously fake that it is just, it's so obviously fake that only the densest, most fucking like brainwashed automaton sheeple are buying what BitChute is selling at this point. It's just another bullshit thing going on. And that's the world that we live in. You know? You know. So, whatever. You know, so I was just thinking about that as I was watching BitChute. Like, every once in a while I'll think, maybe, what about the idea of running a BitChute channel? It's like, dude, I've already been there. I've already done it. I know exactly the game that is played on BitChute. And, you know, play stupid games, win stupid prizes, as they say. All right, see you, boys.